it's Dylan's half day at work, which means that he is home for lunch. And so I decided to make up something nice and fresh. So what I did here is I just sliced up and then quartered the slices of some cucumber. And I also had one Roma tomato that I sliced up, as well as some cherry tomatoes that Dylan's grandma gave us. She grew them herself. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a bit of rosemary and some balsamic vinegar, and maybe just a touch of oil, and then sprinkle it all together to make it nice and fresh. I might add a little bit of a feta crumble, and then I'm going to do some scrambled eggs on the side. All right, so I just added a splash of the balsamic vinaigrette and the rosemary. I didn't measure either of them, just, to taste. And let's see how this turned out. I really like that. I'm going to skip any oil. The sweetness from the cherry tomatoes actually is sort of bringing it all together and making it very nice. You might be able to add a bit of salt, but honestly, I think it's perfect just like this. You just want to use a light hand with balsamic vinegar, because otherwise it can get very overpowering. But here is my beautiful finished little fresh veggie salad. All right, so then for the rest of the meal, I am, like I said, going to do some scrambled eggs. So to do that, I just have 4 eggs I'm going to scramble for the 2 of us. I usually do 6 if I'm having scrambled eggs as a main component, but we're also having the vegetables, and I'm going to have some bread. I made bread. It didn't turn out exactly right because the I follow this method where you're supposed to let it rise, a second rise, and then turn on the oven and bake it from there. And that works brilliantly if you're using a bread pan, but if you're using a pizza stone, then you should really reform the loaf again. Excuse my dirty living room. We're in the process still. It's getting a lot better. As you can see, my kitchen is basically all set. I'm going to tweak a couple of things. But anyway, here is the remains of my little loaf of bread. You can see it flattened out quite a bit there, which is fine. It's my first try making bread in a long time. So I'm just going to toast up a couple pieces of that. And then for the eggs here, I have this pink Himalayan salt, which is also from Dylan's grandmother. So I'm going to use some of that. And to keep it consistent, I'll use a bit of rosemary. And then I think instead of putting the feta into the vegetables, I'll do it in the eggs to give them a little bit of interest. And then with the bread, I'll just toast it, and then we can eat it sort of like, what are those things called? The little toasted breads with things on top. I should know the name of that. But yeah, that's what's for lunch today. I nearly forgot, for eggs I also add in pepper. I am pretty liberal with it, and I also do a splash of cream or milk or something like that. And then I usually use a bit of butter or maybe some bacon grease in my saucepan. Ooh, results of pepper. And it's just over a low heat. You can see there I have the flame very low because I like my eggs to cook slowly, and I like them to remain fluffy by doing good beating like this. So first. So here you see I just added the eggs in, but because the butter was already hot, they're already cooking for me, but they're not cooking too fast. It does speed up the process a little bit for me though. So this pan that I'm using right now is an enamel pan. So it's a safe nonstick option. I actually don't usually use nonstick except for literally this pan. Everything else I have is either stainless steel or cast iron. And I think I'm going to start making my eggs in my cast iron. I just didn't feel like dealing with that right now because I haven't made eggs in it yet. And so I want to do that when I'm on a little bit less of a time crunch, because Dylan and I have to go to the courthouse to get the marriage certificate today so that I can actually legally change my name and all of that good stuff. So you can see the eggs are cooking up nicely. I'm going to go ahead and plate these as soon as they are firm and add the tomato salad, sprinkle some feta cheese on top, and then toast the bread, and hopefully I timed it right so that Dylan will be getting home right around then. Traffic can be unpredictable. And here is the finished result. So we have the homemade bread and the eggs with the rosemary and feta, and it's fresh feta as opposed to the pre-crumbled stuff, which I think is actually going to make a difference. And then here's Dylan's plate. He eats more than me, so I loaded up his plate a bit more. And we have water on the side, and we are going to feast. Isn't that right, Dylan?
Yeah.
Excited?
Yeah.
Love you.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Please like and subscribe below.